What's going on YouTube? It's Garrett. Today's video, well, let me just start by saying I've lived in Japan for about a good solid 3 years and I love it. Like, of course, when it comes down to, is it a perfect place? No. I don't think there's any truly perfect place in the world. And I could make a whole video about the reasons why I love living here. But to be quite honest, I feel like it sounds a lot like what everyone else is saying. High quality of sanitation, of customer service, and food. And so going back to what I was saying before about there isn't really a perfect place. 3 years later, I've also been able to discover a lot of things in particular that I've really come to miss about living in America, specifically the San Francisco Bay Area. In today's video, that's exactly what I want to talk about. Without further ado, let's get started. And so the first thing, I think a lot of my friends and family saw this one coming, is, and I complain about it so much, I hella miss Mexican food. Trust me when I say Japan, when it comes to cuisine, generally they're top tier. Japanese food, of course, no one's touching Japan. Arguably, like even European cuisines, like French cuisine, Italian cuisine, you could find a lot of quality restaurants out here that even though I've traveled to both those countries, I am satisfied with a lot of those varieties of different dishes that I've been able to eat during my time in Japan. For the most part, I would say Japan does food in general really well. It's a part of their culture. I think everybody here takes food appreciation to a next level in general. That being said, Japan, what the hell is going on with your Mexican food? I've been to so many different Mexican joints. I'll go there because the Google reviews or whatever will be rated like, oh, 4.5 stars. This place is the best Mexican joint you'll find in Japan. I cannot believe you get a plate of tacos out here for like equivalent to $12 to $15. And it's good, but Japanese people also kind of have a little bit more sensitivity when it comes to spicy foods. So you could tell a lot of these spices and stuff like that are kind of left out a lot of the seasonings in some of these meats. It's funny because Japan definitely has Mexican restaurants, but it's not the real deal. It's not $2 for some tacos. Man, I could go on about how much I miss legit Mexican food from the Bay Area. I have yet to find a place in Japan which does it right. And I think the reason why I'm so picky is because I come from the Bay Area. I'll meet other Americans who didn't grow up in the Bay and they're like, oh, but yo, did you go to Chili's in Harajuku yet though? Like, that's real Mexican food. Unfortunately, when it comes to Japan though, that's just one thing that always falls short for me. And the next thing, this is not necessarily just limited to the Bay Area, I feel like this is just more American culture in general that I miss, is like, I really miss being able to walk outside like a bum. Anytime I ever come back home, I'm always kind of shocked because when you live in Japan, it's like everyone always looks hella good. Everyone's always dressed to the nines. They've got their makeup on, they've got their hair done. You know, you see the girls all the time with their Maigami bangs and they're just always looking at themselves on the train, making sure that everything's on fleek. And even same with the guys, like the dudes, everyone dresses up pretty nice. Like no one would dare go outside in their PJs. And if you do go outside in your PJs in Japan, you look like a crazy person. Like, and I get hella sad because like one of my favorite things about going home is like the first thing I go back and visit my parents and we have a dog. I can't tell you how good it feels for me to be able to just wake up, get out of bed and go straight out the door and walk our dog together in the park. And I look around and everyone else is still wearing their pajamas too because you could tell they just rolled out of bed. There's some comfort in that. Yeah, for me at first it was such a culture shock whenever I go back, like I'll go to like a Target and I'll be like, man, everyone here is just wearing sweatpants. And that's actually one thing that I also kind of admire about Japan. Like I like the fact that everybody has so much attention to their aesthetics. Sometimes I just miss being able to wake up, roll out of bed, go to TJ's in my PJs, you know? The next thing that I really miss is more or less, of course, this is very Bay Area. I miss Bay Area weather. Yes, I admit I am spoiled. I get it. We only have 2 seasons. We got spring, we got summer. That's it. Yes, I know. When it gets to 36 degrees, everyone panics and they start having a newscast and say, everybody shut the doors, turn off the lights, don't go outside for more than 5 seconds because you're gonna freeze to death. Trust me, I've gone from the Bay Area and then I moved to New York for a good part of my life. And when I moved back to the Bay Area, yeah, I was in the same boat thinking like, man, y'all weak. But like, I get it though. Like, I totally understand the luxury of how beautiful the Bay Area is. It's gorgeous. It doesn't snow there, you know, maybe way up on top of Mission Peak or Mount Diablo. Who the hell is living up there? If you live in the city, then yeah, of course, it's gonna be foggy. It doesn't get to the extreme temperatures like Japan. And this is the one thing that drives me crazy, especially now, like it's already starting to get humid out here in May. I thought I could handle the heat because I had lived in New York, but man, these summers are just on another level. And you mix these summers with like the rainy season, and then not only is it hella hot in here, but then like the rain's coming down for like a month straight, and it's basically like Japan. I looked at the statistics and I was like, dang, I think Japan gets as much rain a couple weeks or months short of rainy days than from Seattle in the Pacific Northwest. And man, it gets depressing. I like my sunny days, you know. I'm from California where we wish for more rain because there's no rain. Other people will argue they love the 4 seasons. You get to see Japan and all these different perspectives of beauty per se, you know. I get that too. I could do without summer. The heat, too much. The rainy season, just too much. And this next one is not necessarily limited to the Bay Area. Coffee shops, breakfast joints. Japan, what is going on? People want to wake up early to eat breakfast and drink a cup of coffee first thing in the morning. Like, man, it's just crazy to think that even like Starbucks, the earliest I've seen one open up is like at 7 a.m. All the other coffee shops, for the most part, they don't open up until around like 10 a.m., 11 a.m. I was a barista for about like 3 years of my life. Man, we used to open the shop at like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., no matter what, like every day. People out here don't get coffee like that, or if they are gonna get coffee like that, then they're just gonna go to the konbini, and that's open 24/7. But it's just a damn shame because, like, especially when I'm on vacation and I want a good cup of coffee, I gotta usually wait until like 10 a.m. and I'm like, damn, you know, I wake up early. I'm like 6 a.m. Likewise, breakfast. I guess Japanese people don't really eat breakfast like that outside. You won't find too many breakfast joints. And people are gonna be like, oh, well, what about like Japanese breakfast? I think most of the Japanese breakfasts are gonna be prepared at home. Even like American brunch places, they're not gonna open until around that 10 a.m. time. And so I miss being able to just go out with my friends in the morning, or even for myself, to go out for breakfast, to go out to get a good cup of coffee early in the morning. Those kind of things just don't exist in Japan, and it really sucks. And I think this one kind of goes with a bit of a mix of San Francisco Bay and America in general. It's crazy because it's not like I ever used to consider the Bay Area as like a very friendly place. There's just a lot of characters in the Bay. I don't really see a lot of that spontaneity and intimacy being forged in Japan amongst like strangers like that. Hell, I remember it was like one of the times when I went back home, I remember I was just like in a Costco, picked up a bag of beef jerky, and some guy, I don't even know him, he just comes over and he's just like, yeah, that's the good stuff, man. I bought like 10 packs of those, you know, like that kind of small talk. I'll bet you if I ever said that to anyone in Japan, like let's say somebody pulled like the hot cake mix and I like went over and I'm just like, oh yeah, kore wa oishii, like they'd just be like, whoa, what the fuck? You know, she'd have that little bit of a jump scare probably. I kind of miss that. Like I miss that spontaneity, that openness sometimes. I miss those range of characters that you'll find going out in public in the San Francisco Bay or in America. Like one of the beauties of Japan is the fact that everything is so structured, and by doing so you create a good balanced harmony of safety and of predictability. But the thing that lacks is unfortunately the flavor. I've made good friends today simply because they were just someone that I met sitting at a cafe one day and we just sparked up a conversation. And lastly, of course, I can't forget the the fact that I really miss my family. Like, that's totally a given, right? What's really great about today's generation, though, of course, is I can line or FaceTime my parents at any time, honestly, and talk to them, keep them updated with what I'm doing. And that's totally cool. But I miss my dog, I miss friends, and just I miss familiarity with folks, because as I've only been here for about like 3 years, it's like I don't have that same kind of community that I do back at home for sure. And sometimes living in Japan, like there's periods of isolation that could feel like a little bit lonely, especially if I'm not like motivated to work on a project or distracted by work or some things like that. So especially the kind of person I am, I can kind of get in my head. And I do got family out here now, you know, I got my wife's family. I technically do have blood relatives out here from Japan, but we're pretty distant. Definitely it's one of those things that I was already used to from living across the country a long time ago. But some mornings I just wake up, and some mornings are just more difficult than others, I guess you can say. But anyways, those were basically the main things that I miss about living in San Francisco Bay or America. Honestly, I still feel more gravitated to the luxuries that Japan has to offer on the other end. And maybe one day, if you guys are interested in hearing about those, I could make a video about that too. But otherwise, thanks for sticking around for today's video. Please like and subscribe for more content. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Peace.